Hello, and welcome to the first installment of the Kanban University Fellow Program. And part of our 10th year anniversary, we have introduced a number of Kanban University Fellows, and I'm here with the first Kanban University Fellow, Janice Linden-Reed. So Janice, welcome, and why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, thanks, Todd. I am a management coach and trainer, and I have been involved in the Agile community for a very long time. I think since about 2005 or 2006. And I'm, I guess, best known for my involvement with Kanban. And over a long period of time, I worked on the development of the Kanban community as we know it at Kanban University.
Well, excellent. Yes. So you were one of the founders of Lean Kanban University at the time, and that was 10 years ago,
Yes.
in April of 2011. And so we're now at the 10th year anniversary. So would love to hear some of your stories about some of the early days, how things got started, how you worked to bring the community together, and how things evolved a bit.
Yeah, well, when I first got involved, it was just with David Anderson's training company, and that's all it was. It was just people would fly David all over the world and have him work with various organizations, usually through Agile consultants. And in 2011, in Iceland, there was a meeting, and I was in that meeting, where the various Kanban consultants said, we're tired of having to bring David in on everything because people don't believe that we are the real deal, that we are able to really present Kanban in an accurate and compelling way. So they essentially wanted a way to be endorsed and to have some sort of authority. So that's really how we started the idea of having an organization that was more of a formal professional organization for Kanban. I don't know if you want me to say more.
Yeah, I would love to hear more about how that came together and some of the as you got started, some of the challenges, some of the successes in those early days. That'd be wonderful to hear. Great stories.
Well, we were having to sort of figure things out as we went along, and one of the things that was that had to develop over time was the Kanban method itself, having a formal set of principles and practices, and that took a long time to evolve, and there was a lot of argument, a lot of debate. Then there was this idea of certification, and that was really tough because a lot of people kept asking for it. They kept asking for Kanban certification, and we kept saying, well, what are we certifying? I mean, this is not a prescriptive method. How are we going to be able to verify that someone is doing it correctly? So eventually, over many conferences and meetings and forums, we were able to get that to a point where we actually were able to establish a certification. And even then, it had to be at sort of multiple levels. So we did that, and another initiative is we had the Limited Whip Society, was something that was the first really community around Kanban that was, just partly just even today, it's just a way that people can sort of say, hey, this is something that I believe in and I'm interested in and I want to belong to it. And that, I can't even remember when that was developed, but that was one way that people were able to kind of build excitement around it and have a sense that this really was a movement and a tribe.
Yeah, that's great. You mentioned that things evolved. Kanban itself is an evolutionary change approach. I'm curious over the, not even just the 10 years, because you predated the Lean Kanban University founding 10 years ago. Obviously, many people familiar with your Posit Science case study as well. How have you seen Kanban evolve over the past 10 years plus? What are some of the things you've seen that have really stuck in with you as evolution?
Mm-hmm. Well, today when you do a web search for Kanban, you will find a massive list of tools. But in the beginning, there were no tools. There was nothing. And I remember, begging tool vendors to support Kanban, but they would have these Scrum tools or whatever. But then they were secretly, kind of really interested in Kanban. And I would say, hey, maybe you should do this, and maybe you should add this. And so that was one of the things. Is originally the best thing you had, and maybe even today the best thing you have, is just a physical board. So that was one of the things, is just having the tooling and the industry support around it. And then, of course, there was a lot of difference, or a lot of evolution in the types of industries and even the geographic locations that embraced Kanban. In the early days, it tended to be a very much a software focus, and very much a kind of a sense of it being, the hot new thing to learn about. And it really took a long time before we started seeing it used in like government and finance and all these kind of more sort of, regulated and traditional organizations. So, so there was a lot of just sort of the development over time, kind of the change, what do you call that? The change curve.
Yeah, that's great. So we're looking at back 10 years ago, now some of the evolution. How are you using Kanban now? Is it working today for you?
So I think the part that I'm most interested in now, and where the part that I am most interested in, and where I'm trying to develop more, training material and things, is mainly around systems thinking, and going back to this idea of lean. People will say that lean is the destination and Kanban is how you get there. And so that is something I find myself getting back to, and wanting to really encourage people to think in terms of systems. So that's kind of my big passion right now. Plus, having people use Kanban to really operate in a way that will make it easier on them and be more humane.
Yeah, that's great. What are some of the things you have valued most about the Kanban community?
Well, I've always been really happy that it was so diverse geographically, in terms of different areas, different types of industries, different sizes of industries. It seems to me that's very validating. And I'm also really happy that, that people continue to be so enthusiastic about it. That hasn't really gone away through the years.
Yeah, that's great. You've mentioned things that you're diversity, getting into a lot of different areas. Are there any aspects of Kanban that have surprised you? Any areas or that you're really passionate about? As I say, that I'm interested in this idea that Kanban can be used to make the workplace more humane. And I've also, seen it used for disaster recovery, things like that. So
it can really be applied to, making things better and building awareness of what workers really experience, and letting them do more with what they have rather than always having to hire more people.
That's great. Thank you so much. Is there any final words you'd like to leave us with?
I can't believe it's been 10 years.
That's amazing. It's great to see you, Janice. It's been great. You've been such a great influence on the community. That's a great work that you've done. So really, thank you from all of us in Kanban University for everything you've done.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Todd.